Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Drumm's Hockey Podcast with my co-hosts here, Leira and JMWacky. We're gonna be here talking about some NHL news. So let's get straight into it. So injuries that are pretty noticeable for their teams. Saw that Trevor Zegras got hit and ended up sustaining an upper body injury. Not sure how long he's gonna be out. He's listed day to day right now, so hopefully it's nothing too bad. We have Taylor Hall out for Boston, another key guy out for that team. I'm telling you, Boston. If I were you, I'd just be worried right now about the kind of start that you guys are gonna have. And then a big one in Ottawa, Cam Talbot out 5 to 7 weeks. So what do you guys think about that? I think it's gonna.
That is a big hit for Ottawa fans. You guys had a lot to be excited for this season, and Cam Talbot was one of them. So you're definitely going to feel that piece missing in the first few weeks, unfortunately.
Yeah, fortunately, their tandem seems to be like pretty decent. Talbot and
Right
you know what? Let me take a look. Thank goodness I have cap friendly. We have Forsberg, Anton Forsberg. He's pretty decent as a backup for that team. So I think Ottawa will try to squeak some wins in, but still, you're not gonna get Talbot back till November. So you gotta try and get some early momentum. And then talking about two contracts. One coming out of Montreal. Goaltender Jake Allen signing 3.85 for 2 years. I think it's important that Montreal has someone that has experience in between the pipes, and I think Jake Allen's a perfect re-signing for them. Unfortunate that Carey Price is going to miss yet another NHL season with his career kind of in the question marks now. So there's that. And then there's the big contract signing out of Long Island. Matt Barzal signing 9.15 AAV for 8 seasons. So he's going to stick it out on Long Island. And what's your guys' thoughts on that?
I like the Barzal signing, actually. A lot of people were saying that it's an overpay. I think it's just the right amount for that type of player. Uh, I watched the Islanders on both of their runs to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I'd say Barzal was a big factor, especially in 2021. So I think if they want to be competitive in the coming years, definitely a good signing. But there is a risk of him becoming the next Dylan Larkin. So something to watch out for sure.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, 9.15, it's obviously not one of the most expensive contracts, but is it going to be a bargain deal for them when the cap seems to go up in the next few seasons?
It's gonna go up by a lot too.
Yeah.
I certainly think it will be a good signing, considering half of the contracts that Highlanders are going to go off. I'm assuming they're probably going to do a soft rebuild, considering they have no prospects right now. I can't think of any prospects that comes to my mind. Hosang didn't even pan out. The defender Aho, the Sebastian Aho of the Islanders didn't even pan out. So right now, I think what they're thinking is they're gonna build around Barzal.
See, but it's interesting. So I'm looking at their team right now, right? And their forwards almost make $50 million this season. And then with Barzell's contract being $7 million this year, going to 9.15 next season. I'm looking at these other contracts, and there's actually 5 other players that are making above $5 million on that forward group. So it's interesting. I'm trying to think what they're gonna build. If they're gonna do a soft rebuild, how are you gonna trade these contracts that uh, have 5 million per? And I'm looking, and their UFA years aren't till the 24-25 season, which is still another 2 full seasons away. So I think if I were an Islanders fan right now, I would be happy that you have Barzell locked up for 8 seasons. But if you're looking at, this season with the cap being what it is, they have used up 79 million and they have a projected 3.5. I'm looking at players like Anders Lee, Brock Nelson, who's making 6 million, Josh Bailey, who's making 5 million, Jean Gabriel Pajot making 5 million, Kyle Palmieri making 5 million. Is it gonna get it done? Because you only have 2 guys that are making about league minimum right now with Oliver Wahlstrom and Zach Parise.
Yeah.
And then even with their defense, again, you have Ryan Pulock making 6.15. You have Adam Pelech making 5.75, and you have Varlamov making 5 million for this season, becomes UFA next season, and then Sorokin making 4.
Yeah.
Right? I don't. This is where the Islanders are a big question mark. You know what I mean? Last year, obviously disappointing. You know the kind of team that they are, and now you don't have Barry Trotz anymore. Your systems are gonna change, right? It's a big question mark for Long Island, and I think it's good that you have Barzell locked up. He is a key piece for that Islanders team. But it sure is going to be interesting to see what direction they're going to go. I think this year they're going to try to go for a shot at the playoffs, but we'll wait and see how it goes. Yeah, so let's get into some preseason stuff. Kind of interested in a few teams that have done quite well, Buffalo being one of them. I believe they're 4-1 right now, and they're actually up 3-1 against Carolina right now. And in preseason, you can't really judge too much because you have a bunch of AHL players that are still trying to fight for a roster spot on opening night. But I mean, young guys are picking it up in Buffalo. So if you're a Sabres fan, are you excited? Are you worried about the division that they're going to be in?
JM, what do you think? Have you watched any of the Sabres preseasons?
I haven't been watching because I've been busy from work, but considering player wise, I think they're gonna be good because Boston right now is in the in
In the
is
shit.
kind of in a dangerous spot. Yeah, Caps is slowly losing it. Always getting old. He may still have the scoring touch. But he's slowly losing it. Kuznetsov is gone. Bunch of 2 other players. Carlson had a bad season last year and 2 seasons ago. So I don't know if he's still just gonna regress really hard. And then we have the Penguins, which is Letang, Malkin, and Crosby. They're not that young anymore. They're still good players, but considering that most of their supporting players are not that great, in my honest opinion. I'm sorry, Penguins fans, but I've seen you guys field better bottom 6 players. And then considering the East Coast, it's not that strong compared to before. You have to worry about Maple Leafs because, of course, Ottawa too. Same as last time. It just switches spot. So I think Buffalo's gonna do great, but the question is the D line and the goaltending. That's about it. Number one is goaltending because the D line is not as bad compared to their goaltender. The past few seasons I've watched their games. All right.
Yeah, and I think looking at Buffalo's defense, they actually their defense looks quite strong, pretty young. Like their average age is about 23 years old for their D core, but you have Rasmus Dahlin, you have you're gonna have Owen Power, who's going to be in the conversation for the Calder this year. They picked up Labushkin, who last year he looked pretty solid with the Maple Leafs going into the playoffs. Like, was a really good acquisition for the Leafs from Arizona. Yoki Haru, pretty young defenseman, 23-year-old. I haven't really watched too much of Jacob Bryson, and like their decor, it's pretty. I think they're gonna definitely try to fight where Ottawa and Detroit and possibly Boston might be this season. But yeah, I'm kind of impressed with their young guys and what they're doing, and their forward group looks pretty interesting too. New Jersey, another team that's been doing pretty good this preseason. Yeah. Minnie and St. Louis and Nashville, like those are kind of not surprising teams in the Central that are doing well. Seattle and San Jose, though, in the Pacific, they only have one loss in regulation in their preseason. So
and they split squad losses. So
yeah,
not full Ross. Branching off what you said though, real quickly about Buffalo, I think they can. I think their peak this season, going off what we've seen preseason, I think their peak actually goes up to nowhere higher than the wild card spot. I think if they peak this year, they can definitely be one of those guys, like you said, with Boston and Ottawa and Detroit, competing for either the last wild card spot or both of them. But as much as they've been fun to watch this preseason, I don't really think it's going to translate into the regular season.
yeah,
And as much as I hate to say it, it might be the same for San Jose, because they are playing guys that are basically just showing out to try and get a roster spot on the opening day. Right? And normally the Sharks, they have these good preseasons that don't really translate to the regular season. But that being said, I would say San Jose, much like Buffalo, if they peak this year, they could potentially go for a wild card spot if they continue to play it in the way they've been playing. Kaapo Kakkonen hasn't looked stellar, but he definitely looks like an upgrade from Aiden Hill so far. So I'll give the Sharks that. The Kraken, I hope that they actually translate this preseason success to the regular season, because it would be nice to see more of Seattle in the doing well.
mm-hmm.
Their inaugural season was I don't want to say disappointing. Vegas kind of spoiled us with how well they did in
Yeah,
their first season.
I think Seattle is really what the true like term expansion team was last year,
Yeah,
and it's Ron Francis as the GM. You know what I mean? I think he's gonna play kind of the long cause game with draft picks and smart drafting of young talent, because it is a young NHL now, and I think that's gonna matter. And I could see Seattle maybe in 3 to 5 years starting to make an impact in the NHL and in the Pacific Division for sure.
Yeah.
And then sorry, just adding on Seattle, their head coach is, I'm sorry, Dave Haxtell. I'm not a coach, but looking at his track record, it wasn't that great. Everybody is just shitting on him. So I don't know if they're gonna do well, if Francis is just gonna stick around with him. So which is one of the factors we'll see if they're gonna do bad, mediocre, or good.
Yeah. And you know what? That was kind of surprising last year when they did select their head coach to be Ron Hextall. Uh, 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 or Hextall, not Ron Hextall. He's a past
He
NHL
wasn't the
player.
coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
But anyways,
Oh yeah, Dave
uh,
Haxtell, sorry.
Dave Hextall, yeah.
Dave Hextall, yeah. He was the assistant coach with the Maple Leafs. You know what I mean? And so going from that to head coach job, like, it's a big responsibility. You know what I mean? Especially in the NHL. And not knocking on Dave, but like you said, his record kind of speaks for itself. It wasn't good in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good in the first year
Prior
in
to
Seattle.
2019.
And if I'm Seattle and I see some of the head coaches that are still available, I'd be kind of, thinking strategically about who the next head coach for the Kraken would. I If I were them. So, but who knows? Seattle could be a surprise in the Pacific. We don't know, right?
Yeah.
There's usually one team every year that you're just watching and you're kind of surprised, like, wow, they're actually like doing decent. I would say last year was LA for sure. They were that team that was kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, they're making some type of noise this year. But yeah, I mean, Toronto also having a pretty good preseason from what I've seen so far. I'm really impressed with Dubas's acquisitions of Abe Kubel and Ashton Reese. It seems like one of them is going to definitely get a opening night spot on that roster, if not both, for that fourth line. Nick Robertson also looking pretty impressive, starting to see his skills expand on the ice, and I think this could be his year to finally branch out into the NHL and show what he's made of. He definitely has worked a lot on his defensive game, for sure. And then, yeah, I guess, Jam, have you watched any of the Winnipeg Jets preseason games at all?
I'm sorry, guys, but I haven't been watching it because of work.
Oh,
But one thing
fair
I
enough.
can tell you guys is looking at Twitter and the beat writers and the people commenting, apparently, um, they're still a bit rusty. Still looking. That's about it. This is defense. You just have to work on the forechecking and yeah. I think bonus is Bones is gonna light a fire under the veterans' ass, especially Shifley and Wheeler. That's
Yeah, I
all I
could
can
see
tell you
it.
guys.
One guy that I've watched a little bit of the Jets preseason, and Cole Perfetti, honestly, is NHL ready. Like, he's gonna find himself on the roster, kind of like we talked about in previous episode, and this guy's going to be a scoring machine. It seems like I think he could honestly maybe reach 30 goals on that second line. That's a hot take, but 30 goals for him could be likely just with the skill set that he has. Obviously there's going to be mistakes that he'll make being a young kid, and he could have a conversation in the Calder Trophy voting this year, but Cole Perfetti is definitely a guy to watch for that Jets team. Moving on, kind of wanted to talk about some players in the preseason that I've really noticed. Kind of talked a little bit about Nick Robertson, Dylan Holloway on Edmonton. This guy scored a hat trick against Vancouver yesterday, and I'm like, whoa, where did this kid come from? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's tied first right now in the preseason for goals scored. Is this could this be a key guy for the Oilers if they're going to really make a push to be a contender this year?
I definitely think he could be a sleeper. like one of those guys that may not perform stellar, like may not put up stellar numbers in the regular season, but come playoff time, I think he can be one of those unsung heroes who basically what Evander Kane was last year to the Edmonton Oilers. If he keeps up his performance from the preseason so far and carries it over to the regular season and eventually into the playoffs, I think he can slot into that role and be, this guy who's kind of under everyone's radar. No one really knows who he is, but will light people up. I feel like he has that potential. But as I said earlier, preseason success, it doesn't always translate to regular season. We'd love to see it if it did. But you got to remember that a lot of the teams that these guys are playing right now, they are kind of incomplete rosters with them kind of trying out all these different AHL players, all these rookies with entry level contracts. Everyone's trying to fight for a roster spot, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically a bunch of guys on a roster playing like they're playing in a contract year, So they're trying to stand out. So basically, what I'm trying to say is it's very likely that he's going to fizzle out if he does make a roster, if he does crack the Edmonton Oilers roster. I hope he doesn't because I love seeing new blood break into the team and start making a name for themselves. But genuinely think that once the regular season starts and he does crack the roster, he's gonna fizzle out a little bit. But potential wise, I definitely think that he can be the player that you were describing earlier, this key player who can come up clutch when needed.
See, and when I'm thinking of these young guys, when there is the preseason, these guys have something to fight for. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and that's the kind of like hunger that you need in the playoffs. You need guys to buy in and be like, hey, like we're going to win this game. You know what I mean? And I could see Dylan Holloway being a guy that is really under appreciated in the regular season, like you were saying, but in the playoffs, you know what I mean? He could be one of those guys that just explode and start scoring a bunch of goals, and then people are gonna really take notice. And I think like I'm not a fantasy hockey expert, but like if I were to have a guy on my team possibly, and who knows, maybe he could play with McDavid's line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He could be a guy that you should probably pick for fantasy hockey, I think. Another guy I've noticed, Logan Brown on St. Louis. So in Ottawa, he was supposed to be like a 1A or a 1B centerman for them.
Yeah.
Didn't pan out at all, unfortunately. And then now in St. Louis, 4 goals in his preseason debut season with the St. Louis Blues. So thoughts on that?
Logan Brown. Like you said, the last time I heard about this guy was when he was in Ottawa, and he was supposed to be kind of like the 1-2 punch for center. Didn't really work out because Josh Norris kind of came into his own and took that spot from him, kind of.
Yeah.
I think now that he's in a new team and this St. Louis team, I mean, they have a good roster, but they're not as stacked as they were like 2-3 years ago when they won the cup. So I think that he's actually going to be able to fit into a bigger role in this team, especially if he continues this performance and he ends up cracking the Blues roster. I think we're going to see a lot more of him. And this is not a knock on him, but he might be a lesser Jordan Kyrou.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
possibly. You know what I mean? And it's gonna be interesting, I guess, to see the Blues and where he's gonna fit in. He might be like a middle 6 guy. I think he's gonna be more of a depth piece than a mainstay on that team. Just my
Like a third line
opinion.
center,
But
right?
from what I've seen in Ottawa, like he wasn't really a wow factor like he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Kind of a little underwhelming of a player. But obviously the center position is probably one of the most important next to goaltending in the NHL, and let's see where he goes. I think third line center for that Blues team, he could possibly be a decent fit. What about you guys? Any noticeable players, from preseason? I know JM hasn't watched too much, but maybe if he has any input from what he's.
Oh, I got someone. Brad Lambert. Apparently,
Yeah.
he's been doing great. Apparently, he shows flashes that he seems ready for the big game. But then, well, let's just say it's not the complete roster, like what Lyra is saying, not complete roster, and you have to contend to the fact that you have to play a game, finish the game, and then just fly off. Like let's say a back-to-back game. We
Yeah.
have to see how they can handle a back-to-back game, because I've seen players, like even the really defense, like, you can tell if a player lost a step, if they're tired, if they had a back-to-back game, because
Yeah.
you can just tell they just don't catch, the way they accelerate when they're chasing or forechecking, they just forget a step. So we'll see how it goes. Brad Lambert, Cole Perfetti, VA Hinola. Oh man, God damn, I don't know how
Yeah.
to say
There
his
you
name, but
go.
yeah. Because to be honest, if you guys are Jets fans, or if you guys follow the Jets, we're more of a draft and develop player. We hardly sign any big players, because Winnipeg is a shitty place to live in, according to them, which is not. You just have to look at the good stuff in it. Yeah. So, which is a really good thing. That's why, no matter our scouting team is really really good too. I'm not gonna lie. Like, one of the best scouting teams there. We hardly have any first round draft picks that fizzled out recently, besides um Vesalainen,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
which is which is a bit sad, because he had flashes of being a good tall player, like power forward, but he just wasn't able to connect it.
Mm.
And yeah, we shall see. And now that there's lots of openings in our roster, considering that half of our half of our roster players from 2018 are gone. We shall see. And considering the fact that there's a saying that they might trade Wheeler during the trading deadline, we shall see how that goes. We shall see who's gonna step up, who's gonna step down, who's gonna have a surprise game. Yep.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if for the Jets like benefit, if they just put Lambert down to the Moose for right now, let him play on that first line and see how he lights it up down there. And if he's really impressive, and if someone on the Jets is really underwhelming, why not give the kid a chance, like in the season? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, and I like how you bring that up actually, Drum, because I was gonna say, the Jets, like JM said, we are kind of focused on developing talent right now. Rick Boat is coming in. I'm sure people are expecting that we're gonna make a push for the playoffs, and maybe we are. But I think right now the Jets, I think they know that they're not really in the upper echelon in terms of power rankings anymore, like they were a couple of years ago. I think they were more of a middle tier team right now. So even if Lambert doesn't crack the opening night roster, it's very likely that within the season, if they choose to play him in the AHL, that he is going to get called up if he ends up tearing it up down there. Because there's just no way that the opening night roster is going to be the same roster 81 games later. So I think even if he doesn't end up cracking the opening night roster, he'll have a lot of chances to prove himself in the AHL, or even if he gets sent back to wait, where did he play before? Which league did he play before? Let me just Google it real quick. He's a Finnish hockey player, so I'm assuming I don't know what that league is called, but I know they have a league. Finnish Liga. There you go.
Yeah,
Jesus.
the league. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, they might do the same thing to him, what the Sharks did to Eklund last year, where
Yeah.
they play him a couple of games in the first few games of the season and then send them back to development. However, I do like what Drum said. I think it's the better option if they just like, have him play with the Moose for a bit, get a better feel of how, North American professional hockey is played. Because let's be honest, it's a lot different from the European way that they play down there. People say that it is faster here in North America, especially in the NHL. So I think if you want to really shape this diamond, AHL is the best way to go because at any time in the year in the season, you can just call them up and replace them with some I don't know some bum on the like fourth line and develop them that way. So I think Jets fans, you guys have not a lot of things to worry about. A lot of the things I see online, very knee jerk reactions, I'd say.
Is and again, like the preseason, right? It's not definitive of how a team's gonna be. I'm pretty sure Colorado last year lost every single preseason game, and look at them, they won the Stanley Cup. So if that goes to tell you anything, like we don't know what we're talking about. But it's I think again, circling back to what I was saying, I think it would be in the Jets' best interest, put him down in the AHL, or if he wants to play back in Europe, let him. But I think AHL would be beneficial, playing with other top talent guys. And like you said, speed in North America is going to kind of be the key for him to transition his game from the European ice to the North American ice. And, you have to consider the ice size as well. There's a pretty noticeable difference. How about you, Lyra? Any players that have kind of piqued your interest this preseason?
Yeah, actually there is, and it's not the player that I expected. For anyone listening, you might remember in the first and second episode of this podcast, I talked a lot about William Eklund and Thomas Bordeleau, shining for the Sharks, and they've looked okay, I guess, but like I want to say that Daniel Gushin has looked pretty darn good, and I've known about this guy for a while, and I didn't really, you know, uh, look at him as like this guy who's going to be called up to the roster anytime soon. He did play 3 games in the minors last year. Didn't really make an impact. All he did was get a penalty and finish with a -4 plus minus. But he did spend most of the year last year in the OHL, and he scored 71 points in 51 games. Now I know in the OHL, a lot of people are prone to like put up cartoonish numbers, but they called them up to the Barracuda, scored 0 goals, 2 penalty minutes, and my -4 rating in 3 games. But now in the preseason so far, I mean, he scored a hat trick against Vegas. I think on Friday, and it was a natural hat trick. Like it wasn't like 2 goals in an empty net. This guy sniped 3 in a row en route to a 7-3 win over Vegas. And I know it's preseason, but the Sharks don't really do well playing in Vegas, regardless of the situation. So it's pretty telling for him to do that well. That being said, it is only 1 game, but he definitely put himself on my radar with that performance. I'm excited to see if he's going to be able to continue this. They did play in Europe today. They beat God, what is that team's name? I'm so sorry to anyone listening. I don't keep up with leagues outside of the NHL. But yeah, Ace Bern, the Berlin team. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it. They did win against the Berlin team, and one of the things I like about the preseason is we get to see these games, and these games against like interleague games, you normally just see them in video games.
Yeah.
So I think that was pretty cool. He Gushin didn't really make of an impact. I don't even know if he played in this game, but anyone who scores a hat trick on a team that they're trying to crack a roster spot on, they're on my radar. So players that I'm excited for, add him to the list along with the 2 other rookies. I'm excited to see the Sharks team and see what they can do. And the guy you mentioned earlier, Drumm, Dylan Alloway. I mean, he also scored a hat trick. So we shall see where these guys go. And I'm just ready for the season to start.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah, I was gonna say, honestly, we're 8 days away from puck drop on opening night with the Lightning and Rangers. That's gonna be one hell of a way to open up the season.
Actually, the first game of the regular season is gonna be a lunchtime game for us here in Canada. San Jose Sharks versus the Nashville Predators
Oh, is that who
in
opens the season?
in Prague. Yeah, I double checked today,
Oh, nice.
and that's a regular season game.
In Prague, Germany.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So interesting. I don't know if it's happened before, but I don't think we've ever opened the season with a overseas game like this one. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I know that Jam is going to have to leave soon, so I think we'll skip to what we were gonna do towards the end. So I've kind of mentioned an idea about, wanting to do some type of like friendly wager. And I was hoping that we could do kind of like like we could do like 5 forwards, maybe 3D and a goalie. And basically we're gonna tally up the points. Thankfully I can just do this at the end of the season and I don't have to like really keep track of it because like all the stats will be online. But I was gonna say whoever ends up with the least amount of points has to purchase themselves their most hated team, like a T-shirt with the player that they hate absolutely the most. And I already know who people are gonna tell me to get right away, and I'm gonna tell you, you guys can go fuck yourself. Damn. So.
Can't wait to see you with a Brad Marchand jersey.
Oh fuck you, dude.
Man. Oh shoot. Yeah, get a jersey,
So,
Brad Marchand.
oh fuck! I will not get a Boston Bruins jersey. I'll get a shirt, but a jersey no.
You know what? I'll just buy a jersey for you just for the hell
Oh,
of it.
really?
You know what?
All right.
You know
Oh
what?
fuck.
JM and I will split the bill and
We'll
buy
split
you
the-
a Brad Marchand
Oh
jersey
man.
just
Yeah.
for the meme. Just
Oh
for
We're
the
gonna
meme.
do that.
god. Just
We're
for
gonna
the
order it from
view.
NHL. We're gonna send it to your address. When you open it, you just know it's that.
Oh my god. I'm not excited about that. Okay.
Not
So
only if you get the least points, right?
yeah. So I'm going to do a random generator to see who picks first. And so the rules are we're allowed to pick 5 forwards, 3 defense, 1 goalie. It doesn't have to be in any order. We could start with defense. You could start with a forward. You could start with a goalie. You know what I mean? But whatever you pick it's a lock in. And even if they're injured throughout the season at all, that's unfortunate.
I get ready to buy that shirt.
Fuck off. Oh god. Okay, so well, I'm gonna spin it now then. See what we got.
Go for it. I should probably be looking at the
All right. So JM, I'm gonna give you the choice. Do you want to pick first or do you want to pick last? And we're gonna do it kind of like in so if you pick last the first round, you get to pick first the second round.
Yeah, you
deal.
get to pick, kind of like back to back.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Any players, right?
yeah, and now we're just gonna determine who's second and who's last.
Sounds good.
And all right. So, do you want to be second or do you want to be last?
You talking to me? Because I want to be last.
You want to be last? Oh, fuck you, man. Okay. So that's how it's gonna
He has
be.
a plan. He
It's
has a plan.
I can already see I can already see the Brad Marchand jersey in my dreams, dude. Swear to God. Okay, so we're gonna start off. I'll type it in my notes here, and
Yeah.
then with the first selection of our wager, who do you select?
I
Yeah.
would select as a goalie Andrew Vasilevsky.
Okay, that's pretty good
Andre
pick.
Vassi. I'm just gonna put Vassi because I don't have his name memorized. All right.
That is true.
So I'm gonna pick forward from the Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid.
Ooh.
I'm a little surprised you didn't go for your hometown hero.
To be fair, McDavid has won the Art Ross like every fucking year, pretty much that he's
Yeah.
been in the league. So
That is true. That
it's a
is
safe
true.
bet.
Okay. Can I pick now?
Yeah,
I get to pick two,
yeah,
right?
yeah. You get to pick back to back.
So forward, Austin Matthews.
Okay,
Ooh.
fair.
Defense, Cale Makar.
Okay. So forward, Austin Matthews, and then I'm just gonna put round 2,
Yeah, Cale Makar.
and you pick McCarr. Okay. All right.
This one.
I'm going to pick goalie from the New York Rangers, Igor
Nice pick.
Shesterkin.
Oh, nice. Good choice, man. Good choice.
Okay, and JM, who do you pick?
All right. I will pick. Whew, this is a bit tough. For the defenseman from Nashville Predators, Roman Yossi.
Okay, so Yossi. Okay, round 3, you get to pick again. JM.
Okay. Hold on. I'll pick a forward. Artemi Panarin.
Ooh.
You think you're gonna have a breakout year?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's
Considering
go.
they did a great day. Great season last year.
That's fair. They are favorites to win this year.
Okay.
You
Okay.
again, Brian.
I am going to pick from the Toronto Maple Leafs forward Mitchell Marner.
That's a good pick. He's an Art Ross candidate.
Yeah.
Oh, is it my turn now to pick?
Yeah, it's your turn.
So I need 2 more defensemen and 4 more forwards, right? And then no more goalies, right?
Yeah, so let's see. You have Matthews, McCarr, and
Yeah,
so you
just
have one
one
forward,
goalie.
1 D. So 2 defensemen, 4 forwards, 1 goalie.
Okay, perfect. I think I'm gonna go with a second defenseman.
Oh,
I'm gonna go ahead and pick up Morris Sider.
okay.
For goalies, that's a good question. I need to pick up a goalie now because I know you guys are gonna fucking take on. You already
Well,
took the top 2 options, so you know.
Messed up there, buddy.
yeah,
Well, not really. I got the top defenseman, so.
that's true.
That's true. That's true.
Drumm, I'm gonna throw you a bone here, and I'm gonna pick up Frederick Anderson.
Oh, let's go.
Oh.
Freddie, let's go. I'm just gonna put Freddie. I already know
I was
who you
debating
talking
between
about.
him and Jack Campbell, actually.
Both
Because
Leafs legends. Both Leafs legends. Okay.
I low-key think Jack Campbell's gonna have a good year, but Freddie Anderson is the better option in my opinion.
Fair enough.
Just has a better team around him, I think.
Imagine if one of us picked Matt Murray.
And then he fucking
Then you
went to
fucking
Veterans.
yeah.
Oh,
No
And he
one
just
no
did
one
great.
suspects
Oh
it.
boy.
Oh god. Okay,
He's so close, man.
let's see. I'm gonna just pick another forward again because you guys are just basically handing them to me right now. I'm going to pick forward from the Edmonton Oilers, Leon
Dude, I wonder.
Draisaitl.
Ah, son of a bitch. Fuck. Urgh.
All right,
Dude,
yeah, who
this guy
you
got the
picking?
1-2 punch in Edmonton.
Yeah, oh, both of them over 100 points, boys. So,
That's if none of them get injured anyway.
I hope not. Or I'm fucked.
All right. For my
You get 2 picks, JM, by the way.
yes, sir. For my fourth pick, I'll choose a forward from the Minnesota Wilds, Kirill
Oh,
Kaprizov.
oh, you son of a bitch.
Thrill the thrill. Let's
Oh,
go.
I wanted him. Whatever.
All right. Okay. Now, time to choose a. Hey. Okay, just give me a moment. This is hard.
Dude,
It
this is
is.
fun.
It's
This is
fun.
Yeah,
fun.
it is fun. I'm trying to think of. Oh shoot.
It's,
Oh man,
uh,
this is gonna be a Hail Mary, guys. For my
okay.
defenseman, it's going to be. Hold on.
Who's that? I've never heard of that
Oh,
guy.
you know what?
before.
Third forward, I'll pick McKinnon.
God damn it!
Damn, I was gonna pick him next
I
if
was
you
gonna
didn't.
pick him. God
I
damn
was
it!
gonna honestly, I thought you were gonna go defenseman. I was gonna pick
Yeah,
him.
dude,
No,
I
I
heard
was
him
ready to
say.
choose a
Okay.
defenseman, but you know what? Never mind.
I heard him say Hail Mary.
I
defenseman.
am going to pick defenseman from the Tampa Bay Lightning, Victor Hedman.
Oh, that's good. That's a
Ooh,
good pick.
Yeah.
good choice, mate.
So I have 2 defensemen and 2 forwards right now. Oh no, 1 defenseman, 1 forward, and 1 goalie right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, well, it's too late now because we're already doing our picks. Do we want to
Yeah.
pick one rookie at least?
Too late.
Too late? Okay.
Too late, man.
Next
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
Next season.
Next
Or we could do
season.
something
Yeah,
or we
could do
could do
next
some
season.
or we could do something in the playoffs. Like something
I
like
think the
what we're
playoffs.
doing.
We can do the playoffs.
No, we can do the playoffs, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds good. I agree.
Anyway, so my pick now. I need a bunch of forwards. You guys fucking took all the forwards. Nikita Kucherov. I'll take Nikita
Okay.
Kucherov.
That's a good one.
That's a very good one, mate.
Since some fucker here stole McKinnon from me, I'm gonna.
Good thing I remembered him.
I was thinking of him, but like, it was either him or Matthews in my first pick. Okay, so I need one more defenseman, or I can go for another forward. Oh, man, the field has thinned out so quick. Like, all of my like devious plans have been foiled.
Oh, I have one question before you pick. So I picked Mitch Marner, right?
Yeah.
And they're talking about him being on defense. So how would
On
that
what?
work? Defense. They want to put him on defense. Like,
they're pulling a reverse Brent Burns on Mitch Marner.
dude,
Pretty much.
do you know how good like Mitch Marner's defensive game is as a forward? He could be up there with Cale Makar. I'm not kidding you. In terms of speed and like in how he makes passes, I think he could be like number 2 in the league.
His shot blocking is insane for a forward.
Yeah.
So but
I'm calling him a forward. That's what he's been his whole career. So
I was gonna say, since it's not official that he's gonna be moved to defense, we're gonna call him a forward until further notice.
Okay.
If he gets moved to defense by the playoffs, we can consider him a defenseman by the playoffs.
Okay.
Okay. So need one more pick. Man. Fuck it, I'm going for it. Johnny Gaudreau.
Oh,
Risky.
Gaudreau.
Is it risky though? Is it?
Nah, I mean, most of the players didn't.
I'm going to pick another forward from the Calgary Flames. Hubie Doobie, Jonathan Huberdeau.
Huberto. Oh,
That's
sounds
pretty
good,
good,
man.
actually. I can't even hate on you for that.
Over 100-point season last year. Like I'm
Yeah.
just picking these 100-point guys. Wait, how many
know what?
forwards did I pick?
No signs of
Yeah.
slowing down, so I don't blame you.
That's true.
Typically, when they move to a new team, they do pretty well too. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the reason why I picked Goudreau, because that Goudreau line tandem is looking real spicy to me right now.
Okay, JM, you're on the clock.
Yeah, you got 2 picks, buddy.
2 picks. Forward and a defenseman. Okay. For the forward, I will pick.
Gonna throw another wrench.
Rantanen.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah. And for my last pick, I will choose the defenseman from. Oh, fuck it. Oh, shoot. Never mind. I'll pick the defenseman. I will choose Miro Hiskinen.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, I like that one.
Right? And my roster is set, guys.
Drum, I think it's your turn next.
Yes. So, wait, is your roster set?
I
The...
Yeah.
mean, you're the one
4
who has it.
forwards, 2 defensemen, 1 goalie.
You need one more
Right?
forward. There's 5.
1 more forward? Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was 5. Oh, okay, 5.
Yeah, it's 5 forwards,
5
3 defensemen.
forwards, 3
Yeah, but I
defense, and
already chose 2, so I'm gonna
Yeah,
have the last pick.
so you're gonna have 1 pick at the last. Yeah.
okay. Let's see. How many I need to... So I'm pretty sure I have 4 forwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 1 goalie, 1 defenseman. So I gotta get a defenseman.
Yeah.
Now, in most cases, if McAvoy wasn't injured till December, I would have picked him. That being said, man, this is gonna be a hard one to think of. I have to think of like a team that's projected to do really, really well. Let me take a look at something. I need to take a look at some. Oh, I can't believe you guys missed him. I'm picking defenseman from the New York Rangers, Adam Fox.
I was about to pick him, you asshole.
Oh fuck! You know what? Okay, yeah, it's fine.
Oh.
It's fine. We have three top defensemen in our team.
I'm
Mhm.
literally
Yossi, Fox,
looking
and
at Adam Fox's
Makar.
page right now. God damn.
I can't believe we missed him. What the heck? That was so weird.
Yeah.
So I
We-
made
oh,
my second
Even
pick. I was like,
last thing too. Last podcast we missed him too.
yeah,
That's
Adam
so
Fox.
funny.
If he listens to our podcast, he's gonna be like, "Yo, fuck these guys, man. They always hate me
I
so
know.
loud."
That'd be so funny.
All right,
Ah,
Leroy, you're on the
that,
clock.
that threw a wrench in my plans. What do I have so far? Like, what do I need?
Okay, let's see. You have a 1 forward, 2 forward, 2 forward, 1 goalie, 2 forward, 1 D, 1 goalie. Let's see, R, so 2D, 2 forward, 1 goalie, and 3 forward. So
So I'm missing 1 defenseman, one forward right now.
I hate Notepad, dude. Honestly, it makes it so unorganized for me.
You should have just put it on Discord, honestly, for pick.
Okay, you
Or whatever.
got, let me go. You got Matthews. You got,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go like in order of position. So you got Matthews, then you went defense, you went defense again, you went goalie, you went 2 forward, 3 forward. So you have 3 forwards, you have
2 defensemen.
3 defensemen and your goalie. So 2 forwards.
I need 2 forwards right now.
Yeah.
Wait, who's my 3rd defenseman?
You have Scheider. Oh,
Yeah.
maybe I looked at the wrong one. Makar, Scheider,
Yeah, I'm
and
sure
one defenseman. Yeah, 2 forward, 1 defenseman.
Okay, that settles it. Okay. Man, there goes Adam Fox. God damn it. I didn't really have a backup for Adam Fox. He's a bit of a shoo-in for me, but I guess the next best option, and Drumm, you're gonna know if this is a bad pick or not because he's on your team. Morgan Riley is my defense.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Not the worst pick, to be honest.
It was either
It
him or
depends.
Devontae.
He's like a 50 to 60 point defenseman, right? So
Yeah, it was either him or Devontae, honestly. So
hey, and then so your decor is done,
I
and
need
now you need to pick your
two forwards.
forwards.
So just 2 forwards.
So
Okay.
you're on the clock still.
Yeah. So I guess I'll only have one pick for the last pick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Ooh. Who's even left?
Good question.
I'm
You can
torn
do
between two
Shakespeare or
people. I already have my defenseman.
no.
I'm torn
Forward.
between 2 forwards right now. But oh man, this is gonna come back. It's gonna come back to bite me in the ass, isn't it?
Never know, man.
I'm deciding between these two. So I'm trying to like unlock that that part of my brain that can decide who is gonna have the better season. Fuck it. My forward is Kyle Connor.
Okay.
93 points last year, man. There's no reason for him to not do it again.
Okay. I have available, so I picked 2D and 4 forwards, so I can pick
One forward, one D.
1 forward, 1D.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of teams that are going to make playoffs because usually they're gonna have a little bit more production. I'm gonna pick forward from the Dallas Stars. Jason Robertson.
I called it.
Oh, buddy, that was risky as hell.
It's a risky one, but I think he's probably the best player on that team, and Dallas should be a wild card position, so we'll see.
You know what? We all have a Hail Mary pick, one each, so I think it's good.
Yep. All right.
Fair.
And Jam.
All right. You said 5. I got a 4. I need 2 more forwards, or 1 more forward.
So you have
and 1
two. You have 2 defense. You have 1 goalie, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have 4 forwards and 2D. So 1 forward, 1D.
1 forward, 1D. 1 forward, 1D. Oh boy. 1 forward, 1 defenseman.
And I'm looking at this name list, and there's some pretty notable ones here still.
I know. I can't even think on the head, on top of my head.
It's hard when you're on the spot.
Yeah.
It's gonna be risky, but I'm gonna go for forward, Chris Kreider.
Oh, that's not bad. I thought you were gonna pick the other Ranger.
So I'm gonna mention 3 forwards that we left out, and we're gonna piss off the whole hockey community. We left out Sid Crosby. We left out Alex Ovechkin, and we left out Patrick Kane.
I did all of that on purpose. I thought of Ovechkin earlier, but I'm not gonna pick him.
I thought about them too, but considering they're a bit old now, and then most of their supporting cast is not even that, you know.
They're practically...
Listen, I'm never gonna doubt Sid Crosby. Okay, even though his age is starting to get up there, And Ovechkin, who knows? Well, he's going to be a topic in this episode later on.
Yeah, after you depart JM, you won't be able to
Hey,
participate in that discussion,
so
unfortunately.
that leaves us now with your defenseman for the final round,
Is that
Oh
me or
my God,
JM?
JM.
me. Ah,
Okay.
shoot. I can't think of any defenseman on the top of
Hey,
my head.
This is the
hey,
Hail
don't worry.
Mary.
Hey, Drumm.
Hail Mary, Hail Mary, Hail Mary. I'm just gonna throw it to whatever direction. I will choose. Oh shit! Fuck. This is hard,
Oh, yeah.
man. I swear to God. Oh boy. Hail Mary. I'll choose Drew Doughty.
Okay.
I can't
Let's
think of.
Wait,
go, Drew
are you locking that in?
Doughty.
Are you locking
Huh?
that in?
Yeah, it's locked. That's locked in, dude.
What the fuck? Okay, you know what? No, hey. But, like, over Shea Fedor?
I was choosing Shea Theodore, but you know, I'm just gonna choose. I'm just gonna choose. I'm just
A
gonna choose the
proven
LA
player?
Kings because they did great last time.
Fair
They
enough.
were-
But
did,
if you were going to
and
pick a defenseman from that roster, I think you would have picked someone else.
Okay, I need to look at a team for a second because I don't remember who they
Drum.
have. Yeah.
I have 4 forwards now, right? So I only need one more.
Let me see. Got 1,
I forgot who my 4th
2,
forward.
3, and 4. Yeah, you got 4. So you got one more forward. I have one more defenseman.
You pick your defense first. You're on the clock.
Oh, some tough choices. I don't want this to be another Hail Mary though. I need to be very kind of smart with this pick. And I'm
Yeah,
trying to
last pick
think
is
I need to look. Okay, none of these names really like stick out to me though. um
oh boy.
these names stick out, dude. Come on.
Come on, you said it stuck out.
You know what? Okay. This is gonna be a spicy pick.
Oh
I'm
god.
gonna pick from the St. Louis Blues defenseman Torrey Krug.
Ooh.
He might not be their best defenseman, but I think he's probably the best offensive defenseman on that team.
Fair.
And St. Louis, they're top 3 in that central, so Torrey Krug is gonna do it. And finally, Lyra, your final forward pick.
Before I pick my last pick, just I forgot who my 4th forward was. I know I have Matthews, Kucherov, and Connor.
You
Those 3 of
got
them.
Matthews, you
Who am I
got
missing?
let's see. You got Kucherov, you got Goudreau, Johnny Goudreau,
Oh, there he is.
and
Kucherov.
Kyle Connor.
Okay, because I'm typing out my picks right now, so I don't forget it. I can't believe none of you guys picked him. It's unreal how we are in the last pick of this draft, and the 5th player in the points total last year is going to me. I'm picking Steve Stamkos.
Yeah, I thought about Steve Stamkos too, but I don't know.
You think it's the same logic with Ovechkin that he's just not going to be as productive this year?
No, I don't believe that at all. I think Stammer is an important piece of that team, and he hit 100 points last year. You know what I mean? Yeah, kind of a big. Maybe I shouldn't have picked Jason Robertson, but you got your hits and your misses in these drafts. Hey, but that's a solid last pick, honestly.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna organize this. I'll send it to you guys in Discord later, and we can maybe discuss like point totals for certain things. but it should be pretty straightforward when I add it up at the end of the regular season, and we can look at it at points in the regular season too to see where we're at. You know, to kind of make us sweat a little bit. You know, so that's great.
Man.
So we got that all locked in. There's no takebacks now.
No more flip flopping. We're locked in, boys.
We're locked in. All right.
James.
Oh man, if Dowdy did great, man, I'm just gonna rub it in your face, Lyra.
You know what? I want to see that. Come on, Drew Dowdy. Just have another like Norris here like you did like 10 years ago.
That'll be so funny.
Dude. You know what? I'm so confident that he's not gonna do it. If I get the least points in this group, instead of getting a Vegas jersey, I'm getting a Kings jersey with Dowdy's name on it. Just
Are you sure?
just for you, JM. And anyone watching the podcast, you can clip this shit right now. Drew Dowdy is not gonna perform this year, and if I'm wrong, you can roast me all you want. I'm gonna wear that LA Kings jersey for a whole day. I'm gonna go out and do errands wearing a Kings jersey.
Let's go.
And I'm gonna record myself so there's proof. Quote me on
Forever
that.
hold your peace, man.
Yo, that's
Forever hold your peace.
that's gonna be a tweet later when I clip this. So
I have no regrets. Again, fucking bomb rap.
All
Forever
right.
hold your peace, man.
Yeah. So you gotta get running, JM.
Yeah, I gotta go now, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Nope.
thanks for being a part of this podcast again, and that was a fun draft that we got to do.
That was a fun draft.
No problem at all. But yeah, that was fun. I gotta agree.
Yeah.
All right, JM. We'll see you on next week.
Yeah, I'll see you guys next week.
Sounds good.
You guys
Sounds
have a
good.
good night.
Yeah,
Stay
you
safe,
too.
and I'll
My
drive
friend.
safe.
Yeah.
Good day.
Good night.
All
Okay,
right.
Drumm.
Yo.
Listen.
I
All
can't
I'm
wait to
saying-
fucking see you wear that Drew Dowdy the shirt.
Listen, it's
Bro.
only fair. If you're gonna have to wear a Brad Marchand shirt, then
Okay.
I have to wear a Drew Dowdy shirt. Okay.
Fair
It's only
enough.
fair.
Fair enough.
But
Fair enough.
You know what we should have discussed before JM left? Who is he gonna wear if he loses?
I think that could be a Discord question. I'm trying to think. Well, he's a Jets fan, so
He's a Jets fan, so I'm assuming it's a Nashville player.
I'm
So,
assuming it's a Nashville player too, but kind of hard to say.
there's really no one to hate on Nashville right now, though.
Yeah.
The one guy that was easy to hate is gone, PK Subban. So
Yeah, I know. And well, you know, speaking of someone that's gonna be getting towards the end of his career, and there's kind of been a discussion about this the past few seasons, and he seems to be putting up the production. Alexander Ovechkin, is he going to beat Wayne Gretzky's goal record? He has 115 goals to go. I want to look at his contract here. Washington, where are you guys at? Somewhere in the middle, of course.
wait,
Actually,
does
never
that
mind.
goal total is for regular season only, or does that count playoffs as well?
Just the regular season. So he's 100 and there's 2 Ovechkins.
What?
Wait, I want to wait.
Are we in a fucking Twilight Zone? What's going on?
Dmitry Ovechkin, 99, and he plays in the VHL. Okay, well, that's interesting.
Oh, he's on elite prospect.
And funny enough, his best Dmitry Ovechkin's best year was the same year that the Washington Capitals won the Stanley Cup, I believe, or it might be St. Louis.
It might be.
Fact check me on that, but it's one of those years. Anyways,
19, that was the Blues.
Yeah. So, anyways, Ovechkin contract ends in 25-26. So, if you do the math, he's gonna need about, let's say, 37 to 38 goals for the next 4 seasons. Is that obtainable for Alex Ovechkin?
Well, how many goals did he score last year? Did he reach 30 last year?
So let's see what he scored. He scored 40-something goals last year. He scored 50 goals last season.
What the fuck?
Yeah, he scored 50 goals, 40 assists, 90 points.
In 77 games, mind you.
Yeah.
Oh my god. If he keeps up the pace and only dips down in production a small percentage, I don't see a reason why he can't unless he gets injured. Honestly, right now, the only things that would prevent him from reaching that record or even beating it is a long-term injury or just him deciding that hockey is no longer fun.
Yeah.
So I think definitely if he scores at least 37 a year for the next 3 years, absolutely he's gonna beat him. And if he does, deserved. Look, I'm looking at the stat sheet right now. This man has not scored below 30 goals, minus the 2021 season because we only played 56 games. But for 82 game seasons, he has scored over 30 goals several times and only scored under 40 in 1 year, which was 2016-2017. This is post 2013 lockout, by the way. I'm talking about.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I'm looking at his stats in the past. I can't believe that 07-08 year he scored 65 goals.
This is his third year in the league, dude.
His third year in the league. Okay. And Matthews, how many did he score? 64, I believe.
In his first year, or this last year?
Oh no, Matthews scored 40 in his first year.
Dude, in Ovechkin's rookie year, and I know we're getting a little bit off track here, but like in his rookie year, this man scored 52 goals and 54 apples in his first year.
Yeah.
And he hasn't really slowed down ever since.
No, he hasn't. No, so 73 games last year for Austin Matthews, 60 goals. Mind you, he did hit the 50 and 50. I don't want to fucking hear people make that like no, he didn't. He didn't score 50 in the first 50 games of the regular season. It's not the first 50 games of the regular season. It's 50 games at any point in the season. He got 50 goals in 50 games, which the last time I believe someone did that was Teemu Selanne.
Yeah, I think that one checks out actually.
I'm pretty sure. Maybe I need to do more research on that. That's a hot take, but you know, that's what this podcast is.
Matthews part of that statement is true because TSN didn't stop fucking posting about it for like a week, so I know that it's real.
Yeah, it's true. When TSN posts Toronto Maple Leaf stuff about Austin Matthews a week straight about the same thing, it is true.
It's a milestone for sure. And as much as I hate it, it's deserved because it is very hard to do, especially in this league.
Yeah, well, you know what? Listen, I know people hate the Leafs and whatever, but you can't tell me that Matthews' 60 goal season wasn't special last year, since considering the last time someone scored 60, which was Stamkos, was over a decade ago. You don't get that a lot, so NHL fans should be like treated to those kind of players. Anyways, getting off track there.
Yeah, they shouldn't hate it.
Yeah. So I don't know what the math is, but 115 is pretty close to 120. And 120 divided by 4 is what, 30 goals? Yeah, 30 goals. So so he's going to need to score about 30 goals a season. I think he's going to beat Wayne Gretzky's goal record, dude.
Yep, I agree. Yeah.
And I think, I don't know how close Gretzky was to the 900 goal mark, but Ovechkin could definitely beat that.
You know what? The one thing that Gretzky The Gretzky record that people will never be able to replicate, at least not in our lifetime. The seasons where he scored almost 300 points, man. I mean, Jesus.
So
Like-
yeah, he scored 894 goals in I don't know how many games it was.
Now, let me just look this up.
894 goals in 1,487 games played.
Yeah. God damn, dude. Look at this. Most goals in one season. 92.
Yeah.
I don't even do that in NHL 2K NHL 22. So like, Jesus, man. Most points one season, 215.
Yeah.
What?
Wayne was insane, dude.
A literal cheat code, mind you.
Yeah. But you know, what I don't know if you watch Bar Down with like Corwin in them, but Corwin
do.
always brings up the fact that Wayne could never lift the puck.
It's true. He never.
Yeah. Well, he did. You know
elevated
what?
those shots.
There were a couple of slap shots that were really nice, and the puck did raise up. So,
But you could make the argument that that was due to the power, not due to the control. So
yeah, but you knew where Gretzky's office was, and that was behind the net. Why do you think he almost has 2,000 assists? Goalies can't see the puck. Wayne's gonna pass it for an easy goal.
So he has the most goals scored ever in a career, 894 in 1487 games. Alex Ovechkin has how much career goals right now? Because if he keeps going at this pace, I don't see why he couldn't beat him. Oh, look at this! Look at this fucking stat sheet. Career goals, top 10 in career goals scored among active players. Number one, Alex Ovechkin, 780, which, holy shit, that's not going to take him much to break the record, if you think about it.
No, he's at 780. He's only 115 away from the record being broken.
The second guy is a whole 214 goals away. Patrick Marleau is actually number 2 on this list. 566 goals. I would have expected it to be Crosby or Stamkos, but there's actually 3 Sharks, or at least 3 Sharks legends on this list, which is crazy to me. Patrick Marleau, number 2, Joe Thornton, number 6, and Joe Pavelski at number 8.
I wonder where Mike Bossy is on that list. Mike Bossy was a machine for scoring goals. Although his career was cut short. But
yeah, he's not in the top 10, unfortunately. But I'm sure if his career didn't get cut short the way it did, he would definitely be.
he would have. Well, Mike Bossy would have beat Gretzky for sure. There's no doubt in my mind. That's not even a hot take. Mike Bossy, if you looked at his goals, what is it, per season or goals per game? It's the highest of any NHL player in history. I'm pretty sure.
Well,
but that, of course, is within that 10 season window.
Yeah, for reference, he played 752 games, scored 573 goals.
That's ridiculous, dude.
So in a 10 season span, he already outscored. How much did he score for this year? 523, 73. He'd be number 2 on the active player list right now.
Yeah,
and he would be, if he continued on that pace for another 7 years. You're right. He would have absolutely beat Gretzky, in my opinion. He's at 573. The number 10 on the most goals scored in the regular season list, Steve Yzerman, 692. So,
pretty good.
Yeah, but I think if Bossy played more, holy shit, he would have definitely been the Wayne Gretzky of the goal scorers. For sure. No question. That's an insane pace. I'm looking at his stats right now.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
But to answer, I guess, the question, yeah, I don't see why Ovi doesn't. I don't see
Yeah.
why Ovi doesn't get 40 goals at least this season and for the remainder of his contract and his career. And he's going to hit over 900 goals in this league. The first guy to ever do it.
Yeah, I
So,
completely agree. I'm actually more surprised that it hasn't happened yet.
yeah. So, you know what? We kind of were talking about this with Ovechkin, kind of about past players. And, you know, I wonder with today, past players that could thrive in the NHL, like in this NHL, like the modern era, I guess.
Yeah. Ooh, a lot of people might not agree with me on this, but if Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux played in today's NHL, I think Mario Lemieux would be considered the GOAT
Yeah,
over Wayne
I was gonna
Gretzky.
actually say that.
Yeah, because I watched a lot of Mario Lemieux highlights, and I saw like the way he played. He was ahead of his time,
Oh yeah,
and I will
he
die on
very
that.
strong player. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
never saw him behind the net. He would always go for the breakout, in the other player's zone and end up scoring like a highlight reel goal. The one with the North Star is the one that pops in my mind when he's deking out the D to score backhand. Like
yep.
ridiculous.
This guy single-handedly embarrassed the Minnesota North Stars when they played in the finals. I mean,
Hmm.
granted he had help, but most of his highlight goals came against that North Stars team. And Mario Lemieux, a lot of people, who are new to hockey, this is the guy who propagated the phrase first shift, first shot, first goal. Am I
Yep.
wrong?
No.
That's that's facts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think past players who would thrive in the NHL, definitely Mario Lemieux. That guy, we wouldn't have a Sidney Crosby right now if he was in the modern NHL.
Yeah.
He would be the Sidney Crosby, actually.
Now, one player I kind of thought about this without really discussing it. I kind of just thought about it. Pavel Bure is kind of the player that is now very much seen in the NHL today. Very fast, very
Yeah,
skillful, high scoring. Pavel Bure would be excellent in this iteration of the NHL for sure.
yeah. When he led that Vancouver team to the '94 finals, I mean, he was skating circles around most of his opponents that year. So a lot of the players right now that we come to know and love, I'd wager that they model their game after Bure actually, because during that era where you have these titans in Detroit and Colorado who preferred a physical, rough, tough type of game, he thrived in that environment, and I think he's one of very few players from the '90s era who would absolutely not just hold their own in today's NHL, but thrive in today's NHL. Him and Mario Lemieux are my picks, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. And I was also thinking in not in terms of like it doesn't have to be a position, but in terms of leadership, I think Mark Messier is I mean, he literally has a trophy named after him. This guy
Yeah,
would be
I mean,
great on any team, not even as a captain, but as a voice. You know,
it's a locker room presence.
Mark Messier has won the Stanley Cup, I believe, 6 times in his career. The
Yeah,
last time being with the New York Rangers in '94. And if you remember that '94 Rangers team, when they played against the Devils in the conference finals, in Game 6, they were down 3-2 in the series, and Mark Messier said that they were going to win Game 6. And Mark
it's a
Messier
guarantee.
put the
That.
guarantee, yeah, it was the guaranteed win, and he put up a hat trick in that game. And
Yep.
literally, I get shivers anytime I watch that replay where the announcer is like, "Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Mark Messier hat trick, game winner, basically." It wasn't like OT, but like they
Still,
won that game, and
it's the fact that he guaranteed. Um, Harkening back to a recent playoff run, 2019, San Jose Vegas, Thomas Hurdle, after he scored the OT winner in Game 6, or actually in Game 5 when they won 5-2, he said that we will see you guys back here for Game 7. And I immediately thought of Mark Messier when he said that, because I'm like, holy shit, the ball's on this guy to guarantee, and then actually fucking deliver on it. I don't know if you remember, but in Game 6 in OT, Hurdle was the one who scored to force that Game 7. So, like,
yeah, I don't remember that series too well. I have to watch it, but that's an interesting comparison. But
yeah, nowhere near as legendary, obviously, but like it
no.
gave me chills because I'm like, the last time anybody did this was Mark Messier, and he delivered on every angle.
Now
So
in terms of this modern NHL era, isn't is it important to have a guy as a leader, like a voice of reasoning in the room? Would Mark Messier be good in today's NHL? Now, in terms of skill, he was a very good forward. Now, but in terms of the leadership, you know what I mean?
I think so. I think a lot of NHL teams are actually missing that voice in their locker room right now. Winnipeg Jets being one of them, actually. Um, I definitely think he could thrive in that regard. I mean, another player that I think of, who doesn't always wear the captain, but is looked upon and respected as the dad of the hockey teams that he's on. Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau.
Yeah,
And you know this because they both had their stints on Toronto, I believe.
yeah.
So like,
They have.
and Matthews and Marner immediately, like they didn't question them. They listened to them, and up till now they're close friends. So
Yeah,
leadership wise, a lot of teams in the modern era are missing these Thornton Marlowe like leaders. I think a guy like Messier could definitely fit that role if he was playing in today's NHL. Because
yeah,
speed wise, he's a good forward, but he was never really a fast guy like Bure or Lemieux.
yeah.
So I think speed wise, he wouldn't be this dynamic player, game changer. But locker room presence, absolutely. I think a lot of teams right now in the league need a guy like Mark Messier in their locker room because they would just thrive with a guy like that. Any team would thrive with a guy like that.
And you know what? I'm very fortunate that, well, as a fan, I'm very fortunate that Jason Spezza decided to stay with the Maple Leafs, taking up a more of a management role with the team.
Yeah,
And because Jason Spezza is another example of a guy in today's NHL who is a leader as a captain before, and really when it came down to talking to the young stars, he really rose up, and in the playoffs, he really elevated his game against Tampa Bay to get a couple of key goals for that Maple Leaf squad.
yep.
So
Part of the
yeah,
reason why I thought they were going to win, actually.
but I think, yeah, those three guys in today's NHL would just absolutely tear it up. And that's not saying that Wayne Gretzky wouldn't tear it up. I think Wayne Gretzky would be a very elite player in the NHL today. But the goalies are just a lot smarter, a lot bigger. The padding on the goalies is different. The defensemen are a lot smarter with their hockey IQ. So Wayne would have to play a very different game than what he played in the 80s and 90s with the Oilers and the Kings.
He wouldn't be a cheat code like he was back then, but
Oh
he would still
yeah.
be elite.
Oh yeah, he'd still be a Hall of Famer, but I don't think he'd have like almost 3,000 points.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
He'd
Yeah.
definitely be in the 1,000 point club,
Oh
but I
yeah,
don't think
he
he'd
would.
be as dynamic as he was in his era.
Yeah. All right, and we're gonna go to this topic. It's gonna be the final one for this episode, talking about NHL superstitions, which ones like, are real that we see on or off the ice, and which ones can be exaggerated sometimes. I'll let you take this away.
The first one being, if you touch the Clarence Campbell Bowl or the Prince of Wales Trophy, you're gonna fucking lose. That's been debunked numerous times.
Debunk.
I still hear multiple people freak out whenever the winning team of the conference touches the trophy. Boston in 2011, they didn't give a fuck about that trophy. They wielded it like it was a Stanley Cup, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And look what happened. Decimated the Canucks in the 7th game.
Yeah. And that's the important game, right?
So, side note, I blame Nathan Horton for putting Boston water into anything.
That was funny though.
Oh god, that whole series was just a roller coaster. But the other superstition that is kind of proving to be true, actually, the President's Trophy curse. Now, when I brought this topic to you up earlier, I was actually thinking about this, and it was a literal shower thought, guys. But I was thinking, the last time a President's Trophy winner actually went on to win the Stanley Cup, 2013, Chicago Blackhawks, and I almost don't want to count them because that was a lockout shortened year, and they won the President's Trophy with, I believe, it was 82 points only, and they were the last team to win the President's Trophy and the Stanley Cup in the same year. So I think if we're gonna take any hockey superstition that might be true so far, that's proving to itself to be true, President's Trophy curse, man. I mean, 2019 Tampa Bay, I keep talking about these guys, but they're the best examples of this being true. So
yeah, and I think 2013 Blackhawks were on that trajectory too in a full 82 game season. They were really a dominant team, that the 2013 Blackhawks team.
only one team stand up to them that year.
And when I really think of like the curse, like, you talk about the Blackhawks winning. Well, the Detroit Red Wings were, I believe, the team before that when had won with the President's Trophy, right? So I highly believe that to be. Now, I don't want to call like a curse like that real, but I think for the players, it's like, oh, we had an amazing regular season and we're just gonna stomp whoever we play in the playoffs. It's like, no, you're in the NHL, dude. Like, the playoffs, you reset to 0. It doesn't matter if you were the first seed or the friggin' 8th seed. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen so many like random upsets happen in the playoff history, even in the past like 15 years, the playoffs, right? So I can agree. I think in terms of superstitions, the President's Trophy curse is really like one of those ones that you can consider to be real. I what interests me though is player superstitions. So player routines, like you have Crosby not like wanting to talk to his like family at all, and then the way he does warm up is exactly the same each and every time.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, does that really work for like players like that are in the superstar conversation like Crosby, Because I don't see Matthews like keeping the routine the same. You know what I mean? Or another one was like Connor Hellebuck. Every time he just had the stare down with the camera, right?
Yeah.
I always found that like just interesting to watch as a fan.
Wasn't it Mitch Marner who had that tradition of eating ice cream before
Yeah, he was. He'd have ice cream before the game, and I thought about that. I'm like, man, how the hell did you not like shit yourself on the ice? Seriously.
Right?
Going back to like Roberto Luongo era for people who remember when he had the switch goalies was in the playoffs because he literally was about to shit himself. But
Man, I'd forgotten about that. That is a hockey Hall of Fame classic if I've ever seen one.
that's a
Oh
certified hood classic, you know?
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Uh, Superstitions. I'm glad you brought this up because I was gonna say I think a lot of it is very unique to the person, and I was gonna bring up Crosby, who has this like robot-like uh, tradition that he has to do every single time, and in his words, if he doesn't do it, he can't function properly. He has a bad game. So it's like I think it's very unique to the person because, like you said, you got guys like Matthews and McDavid who don't follow a specific pattern
Yeah,
every game,
they don't.
but yet somehow perform like gods almost every time they're on the ice. So I think in terms of it's true or not, there's no generic answer to this. I'd say for some players it's definitely true, but for most players it doesn't matter. I'd say.
Yeah. What about like some playoff superstitions? Do you think there's
Oh,
any that are really like out there and exaggerated? You think?
exaggerated, yes. Yeah, it's 3-1, the worst series lead ever.
Yes. Next question. Seriously, 3-1 lead in any sport. It's honestly, oh man. You
Yeah, Chicago.
you think you have them right in your like your grasp, and then it's just like, here you go, you win the game, you win the series, it's over.
It's like I'm predicting a little bit there, but
Toronto, Montreal, dude. That's
yeah,
one example. Another example, it wasn't 3-1. Well, it was at one point, but Boston, Philadelphia. Boston up 3-0, and what did Philly do? Came back 4 straight.
I'd rather not talk about 3-0 comebacks right now.
Come
Uh,
on. I had to
2014,
bring up my I had to bring up
2014, San Jose Sharks.
yeah,
3-0 over the Kings of the West, LA Kings. Ha 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 ha. Yes,
just to get smacked back into reality. Hey.
oh my god! You know what? I'm gonna say this right now, and fellow Sharks fans, you can crucify me for this. That 2014 team overperformed. You
Yeah.
guys, you had guys like Mike Brown, Rafi Torres on that team, and they had 114 points in the regular season. That's their second best season points wise, by the way. Uh, and it's funny because the top 2 regular seasons that they have had in their franchise have led to them getting absolutely embarrassed in the first round. Obviously, 2014 being worse,
Yeah.
but for old heads, 2009, the Sharks won the President's Trophy. Woo! Yeah, best team in the league. Fucking all the experts are like, this is the team to beat in the playoffs. And lo and behold, the Mickey Mouse organization known as the Anaheim Ducks, led by Ryan Getzlaff, Corey Perry, and friends, come in and be like, what President's Trophy? We're gonna beat your ass in 6 games. You're not gonna score on I think it was Hiller at the time who was their goalie. Oh my god. And in 2014, you know what? I knew it was coming even at the time, and I think I was talking to you, Drum, because this was when we were in high school. I remember telling you, this Sharks team, man, they're scaring me. They look way too good against this LA team, and lo and fucking behold, after Game Three's OT win, they just decide, oh, we're gonna cosplay as the San Jose Barracuda. We're not gonna play anymore. That's just if you
Yeah.
if your worst year as a Maple Leafs fan was the Montreal one, as a
All
Sharks fan,
well, that I wouldn't say that's the worst year. It's debatable, right? Because as a Maple Leafs fan, all you experience is pain. You don't get to know what it's like to win something because basically we're like what the New York Rangers of old used to be, right? New York Rangers won 54 years without winning a Stanley Cup. You know, they get the you guys are cursed, you're jinxed, blah, blah, blah. And then they win the cup.
Yeah.
The Leafs have not had that moment. We've had great teams in the past few seasons, like cup contending teams. And what happens, right? No matter how you look at it, whether they have a good series or not, they have not won a game 7. And any of those series, except I guess the Washington series, even the 2013 squad, completely different squad, but same result, right? And as a Leafs fan, you're like, well, what the hell are they supposed to do to get past their game 7 demons? Right? And I guess this can be like some closing thoughts on, I guess, maybe painful playoff memories for myself. You know, 2013, I was gut wrenched when the Leafs choked and Bergeron scored. And, you know, I mean, Boston didn't go on to do, I think they went to what, conference finals that year?
They went to the cup final.
Oh, yeah, they did go to the cup final. Yeah. So they had a run, but the Maple Leafs were the ones that kept them like close, right? And then, you know, they played Boston again and they lost in 7. And then they played Boston again and they lost in 7. And then they played Columbus in 5 in the bubble and they lost in a shutout. And then they played Montreal in game 7 and they were shut out. And then they played Tampa, which I think was the most bullshit game 7 I've ever watched besides the Montreal one. Not because they played bad, but it's because that John Tavares goal didn't count. Also, because of interference by Justin Hall. Watch the replay and tell me how that is fucking interference at all. He literally stood his ground and the player went into him. Like what? Like Corey Perry went into him.
Yeah, he got Corey Perry actually. Is what I
fucking hell. I hate Corey Perry, dude. I mean, great player, but like, man, I don't get it.
Feel better in that 2013 run by Boston. They ended that run in the most humiliating way possible. TD Garden, Game 6 against the Chicago Blackhawks, looking good, looking like they're gonna force a Game 7 back in Chicago. With I don't know if it was 2 minutes left or a minute left. I think it might have been a minute left. I think it was Taves who's tied the game.
Taves and Bolin.
30 seconds later, Bolin
with the garbage goal, dude.
Yeah.
Game of
goal that won them the cup.
Game of inches. That's a perfect example of game of inches right there. That Dave Bolin goal.
That's definitely
the iconic. He scores. He throws his gloves off. He's like, "Oh, I did it. Yeah, we're gonna win the cup."
He knew immediately that there's no shot Boston scores this.
Kind of reminds me of Patrick Hornquist when was it against the Predators?
Yeah.
Same celebration. Gloves off. He's like, "I did it." Like, man, those are.
What? Predators got shafted in that game because they had tied that game, but the goal didn't count because apparently the official already blew the whistle.
Wasn't it a 0-0 game though?
It was a 0-0 game. You're right. They had the lead, but then that goal got taken away because the official had already blown the whistle. God.
Classic officials, dude.
Yeah. Dude, we can probably make this a topic for the next podcast, actually, and when JM is here. Where's the officiating in the playoffs? Because I have a couple that stand out to me.
Just look at the last few years, dude. There you go. That's all you need to know. Last few years of officiating in the playoffs is so bad.
Yeah, 2 names. We can expand on this in the next episode, but 2 names: Chris Lee and Tim Peel.
Well, I don't want to dig on those guys, but we know where Tim Peel's at. On Twitter, on his Twitter game, and Chris Lee is Chris Lee, dude. Anyways, yeah,
we'll end off on that, I think.
Yeah, am I salty about Toronto Montreal? I think I always will be, because that was the one and only time that I think Toronto was gonna play Montreal in the playoffs. But you know what? If it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be for them. And yeah,
that's an oof.
It is an oof.
Hey,
well, we'll end it off.
At least your team will be in the playoffs for the next few years. Mine will just be,
Hey, they're building for something better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess I don't really have that much faith in our new head coach because I don't know much about it. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right. So thank you guys for those of you who watched on the live stream on twitch.tv/Drumm. This of course is going to be made into a YouTube VOD, edited VOD, I would say. So we'll have that up as soon as I can edit it and I have the time. Probably will be towards the end of this week, and then we'll be back again next week. Probably, I'm hoping opening night of the NHL, or maybe sometime after that. But I'm excited to see the preseason end, going on to the regular season, and hockey is going to be back sooner than we know it.
Yep. Steve Dangus is going to be back. Can't wait for that.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch his LFRs and be in the fields with him,
Yeah.
And I'm hoping, like, I think I mentioned it before, but I'm hoping that, we can do some like live reactions of games, and maybe at some point in this regular season or even in the playoffs, we could do a live podcast, the three of us.
We could. I mean, it's possible with the stuff that we have right now. I mean, you and I have been talking a while now of doing one of those live reactions to the game, kind of like what Steve Dangle does with the watch a game with Steve Dangle thing.
Yeah.
When the Sharks and Leafs play, we could try and make that happen. Actually,
sounds good. I would say the same thing for the Leafs and Jets game on the 22nd of October, but I will actually be going to that game. So I'm planning on taking some recordings, seeing if I'm allowed to possibly post snippets on the podcast to share with you guys. And but yeah,
I don't see why not.
Yeah, I don't see why not either. But you never know. It's a business, and they want to go for their money. So
copyright, all that stuff.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the notification bell for the next episode, and thank you for watching this episode.
Good night, everyone.
Peace, guys.